Hello, dear friends. It's Carly Horton, and welcome back to Owning Authenticity. I'm so glad you're here. I'm so happy to bring you this video where I am on keto day 6, and these are the first 6 lessons that I have learned switching to keto. Number 1, water is even more important than when before keto started. I already was not getting enough water. I already knew this. It was not high on my priority list in terms of fixing it until the first morning I woke up. So, like, kind of the beginning of day 2 of keto, I was working on getting my fats and my proteins and was a few hours into the morning when I could feel my heart beating inside my chest. And that is an unusual feeling for me. I do not ever have that sensation of like my heart is just all of a sudden beating really hard. So I Googled, I'm a generation, I'm a millennial. So that's, I Googled the keto heart. That's yeah, and keto heart palpitations was the first thing that popped up. And the short version is fat and protein take more water to digest than carbs. So it's easier to get dehydrated when you're on a keto diet than otherwise. So I went into this blindly thinking I'm changing what I'm eating. I had no idea that I would need to make sure and get adequate water. Otherwise, my heart would feel like it was trying to like bust out of my chest. So make sure you're getting adequate water. I mean, I'm getting like 8 to 10 8-ounce glasses a day and feel totally great compared to that first morning where I hadn't had water in more than 12 hours and was trying to eat all this fat and protein, and my body was just not having it. So, keto also comes with getting enough water. They basically go hand in hand. The second lesson that I got so far is not all fat is created equal. There are still things as good fats and bad fats. So I did a quick Google of the best good fats for keto and got a list of like 14 things. And because of that, lesson 3 was chia seeds. Chia seeds were like one of the first things that for me personally, I worked on integrating into my diet. I was not consuming them at all before. Today, I think, will be the 4th day that I've had chia seeds. And the magic of chia seeds is that they are a source of healthy fat, the kinds of omega 3s and omega 6s, like what's in healthy fish, is also in chia seeds. And they are a great source of fiber. Um, Keto constipation is a thing, not that I've experienced so far, but that is on a lot of the different research that I've done. It talks about keto constipation and how to fix it, because basically it's one of those mistakes of you're getting too much of the bad kinds of fats and not enough of the healthy fats, when most of those healthy fats, they come with their own dose of fiber. So you have to get the right kind of fat. Otherwise, you wind up constipated, which just sounds miserable. So yeah, definitely avoid that. Chia seeds, basically eating them every day is supposed to help with that constipation problem. And the more of your fat that you can get from the healthy fat categories, that also clears up the constipation issue. Keto flu is the next one. And this is very real to the point where, depending on how much of a sugar burner you are, which is the term for people who are not keto, who are living fueled by sugar, glucose, um, where if you're on keto and trying to get to ketosis, you're using fat for your energy instead of sugar or carbs. So that's the switch that keto is trying to make. And when you very first start making that switch, when you drop your carbs down, your sugars, and you increase your fat, that is, eventually it switches you to ketosis. It switches your body to have to get the energy from the fat because you're no longer putting carbs in the gas tank. So it's got to figure something out. In the in between of figuring something out is keto flu, where basically your body is used to using sugar and carbs for energy. So as far as your body's concerned, you're starving, even though you've increased your intake of fat and all of that. it takes your body a second, a few days, a couple weeks, depends on the individual, and how religiously you're sticking to it. Um, how long your body takes to switch to going to fat, to burning fat for energy, and then you feel better. You don't feel starved anymore. And supposedly, and this is kind of just getting to the side of it, you feel even better than you did before when you were burning sugars for energy. When you're burning fat for energy, your energy is more sustainable, it's more consistent. There's fewer blood sugar spikes and crashes throughout the day, which was definitely something I experienced before. So there's a lot of symptoms that go along with keto flu, mostly brain fog and just overall low energy. You just feel like totally deflated, like your body just doesn't have what it needs because it doesn't, because your body is used to burning sugar. And meanwhile, you store every bit of fat that you're taking in and all of the fat that's created by consuming excess sugars and carbs. That is all besides the point. Keto flu is a real part of the process, to the point where I am going to point you towards a book by Mark Sisson called The Keto Reset Diet, where it's a 21-day process of more gradually switching into this. Because if you're a major sugar burner, like if you're consuming tons and tons and tons of sugar and carbs every single day, coming off of that cold turkey probably isn't healthy. Like, I can't imagine that it is. I mean, those sugars are just as addictive as like drugs, like cocaine drugs. So coming off of them probably should be treated with some respect and some tenderness as we gradually step, depending on how much of that kind of stuff you're ingesting when you start. But that 21-day keto reset diet, would be a good place to start if you're someone who wants to take it more gradually, which would, I would think, mitigate the symptoms of keto flu and make it a more gradual process where your body isn't in total shock at what's going on. The Carb Manager app. So I don't know if I could do this without an app. It'd be really difficult to try to keep these records by hand. Keto requires a certain mix of your macronutrients. Macronutrients are fat, protein, and carbs. And like keeping carbs less than 5%, keeping fat at a certain percentage, keeping protein at a certain percentage. It's a lot to make sure that you're hitting those combinations of things. So Carb Manager is a free app that I am using, that I like it so far. It served me well in these first 6 days. If you have a different app that you know of that you like better than Carb Manager, leave it for me in the comments. I definitely am an experimenter, so I want to find the best free app that there is. So help me out with recommendations on that. And my last lesson that I learned is around food binging. So I realize now, I didn't a week ago, I realize now I'm a chronic food binger, and meaning I binge food almost every day. And it has become abundantly clear to me that there will be no way to be successful on keto and continue daily food binges at the same time, because I mean, hello, I worked all day to hit my macros and then I binged food and just like exploded it, just like blew the whole day right apart. And a couple days of that, like realizing that like I was making steps forward only to like shoot myself in the foot, it became so clear this week. So, I mean, yes, I have a habit around food binges, and I'm going to work on figuring this out on more depth and classic. I'm going to tell you guys all about it. But it's so fascinating how trying to build this healthy relationship with food as nutrition and fuel for my body, it is bringing all of these other things. Like I didn't drink enough water and I'm food binging every day. These were problems that I didn't even know I had. I didn't know. And then all of a sudden I think, oh, I'm going to try keto. I'm going to like play with my nutrition. I'm going to, really become mindful of my nutrition. Like this is what I'm working on. And like all of these other seemingly unrelated things are what actually come to the surface. So isn't life always like that? I hope this has been helpful. If you are a baby beginner at keto, just know that I am right there with you in the trenches of learning all the things. Keto is a completely different way of eating food than I've ever been exposed to. Uh, and so far, so good. It's definitely been an adjustment. It's required a lot of learning, and that's why I'm passing along a lot of those things here. And I'm going to continue to check in as long as I'm experimenting with keto. I'm going to continue like every week or so to share the lessons that I'm learning because if you haven't picked up on it by now, I love sharing information. That's my go-to passion slash hobby. So I thank you for letting me indulge. If you appreciated my content, I do ask that you like this video, subscribe, comment, whatever works for you. Any of it is a huge help. I thank you so much, dear friend. And until next time, you take good care of yourselves, and so will I.